Are you serious? Are you serious, guys? Thank you for dropping back in. Wow, it is getting very, very ugly out there. And now Russia has dropped bombs in Syria that has killed over 200 people, 200 militants. And I'll tell you about why they're doing it. The hook is in the jaw. Bible prophecy is taking place right before our very eyes. First of all, put a shout out real fast for www.virtualshield.com/deals/active/Begley. Here's what we're finding out. Research into 5G's architectural reveals your mobile service could be maliciously used against you. New findings show that 5G could be used to exploit your data and cause DDoS, disturbed denial of service, attacks through security flaws in the cellular networks. And we're starting to experience that here when we're interviewing people sometimes, okay? It just happened to us with Gil Brazard last Thursday night. As with any disruptive technology, hackers and whackers and zackers and attackers and corporations will always look for ways to exploit it at the cost of you and your privacy. This is why I highly recommend Virtual Shield. It is, without a doubt, my favorite VPN because unlike typical VPNs, they have a strict no-log policy and there's no hidden fees. It's fast, it's secure, it's easy. Even grandma can do it. What? So simply do this. Get 50% off today. Just go to www.virtualshield.com/deals/active/Begley. Okay. Now, let me tell you what's going on. Thank you guys for your prayers. Wow. It's getting intense. It is getting intense in the Middle East. Russia. The hook is in the jaw. The Russian military said today that it just did an airstrike, killing about 200 militants in eastern Syria. The Rear Admiral Alexander Karpov, the head of the Russian Military Reconciliation Center in Syria, said that Russian warplanes hit 2 militant location hideouts northeast of Palmyra. Now, the the Rear Admiral Karpov said in a statement carried by Russian news agencies that the air raid killed some 200 militants, destroyed 24 armored vehicles, destroyed 500 kilograms or over 1,100 pounds of ammunition and explosives, and said that the militants' base had served as a staging ground for terror attacks all across Syria. Russia has waged a military campaign in Syria since 2015, helping what they say President Bashar al-Assad and his government to retake control over most of the country after a devastating 10-year conflict, which all started, folks, 10 years ago in the Arab Spring of democracy. Remember that? Oh, my Lord. Anyway, I'm so tired of that. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported the airstrike, saying they preceded a sweep by Russian troops and Syrian Fifth Corps in search of Islamic State militant cells in Homs Desert. The observatory said 26 militants were killed there, and the observatory said that the raid might have been in response to the ISIS or Islamic State's group claims that it had killed 2 Russian soldiers in the desert. The ground operation began Monday under the heavy cover of Russian military helicopters. So the Russians are sending in ground troops as well as they're flying in with airstrikes. They have killed over 200 militants in Syria. Now, part of the reason is they want to help protect Assad and keep his government afloat. That is true because Assad is really a puppet for Vladimir Putin. But also, besides that, why is he a puppet? Why would Putin care whether or not Assad is in power in Syria? Well, the answer is very, very simple. Oil, oil, and more oil. Also, the natural minerals, besides the oil, the spiritual significance of having the power over the Middle East, especially with Russia setting now. Look, Russia doesn't fly into Syria and blow up Iranians. For those of you who don't understand that, Russia does not go around blowing up the Iranian footholds in Syria, threatening Israel. Russia does not blow up Hezbollah footholds in Syria or in southern Lebanon. Russia is going after, they are supporting Iran. They are helping Iran to entrench itself in Syria as an absolute threat to Israel. So the hook is in the jaw, which is what the Bible said would happen in Ezekiel 38. Guys, we are closer now to Ezekiel 38 than we've ever been. Because it's not just about Russia, and its threat to the Holy Land, or is known sometimes as the Levant. Certainly the Holy Land, the nation of Israel, is being threatened by Russia and Iran. And remember what Mike from Around the World said? When you say Russia, you're also saying Iran. You can't say Iran without saying Russia, and you can't say Russia without saying Iran. They are working together. And guys, let me put this together. It's not just Russia and Iran and the threat to Israel, but Israel is threatened by Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, by Hamas in Gaza, by Assad in Syria, by ISIS, by Al-Qaeda and the Al-Quds, by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, by the Russians, and anyone else that can figure out a way to become an adversary. And it's exactly what the Bible said in Matthew 24, verse 20. It said, when you see Jerusalem compassed about with armies, know that the desolation thereof is nigh. But in Ezekiel 38, but also Russia is at the brink of almost World War III as it relates to going to war with Ukraine and anybody else that gets in their way over there. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But here's what it says in Ezekiel 38. So in other words, Psalms 83, Ezekiel 38, World War III, and Revelation 9 are all, they're all trembling. There's a seismic prophetic activity is going on right now. Seismic prophetic activity. The rumbling of wars, the winds of war, the threat of nuclear detonation and engagement is a real deal now. And let me read to you what it says. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. So now God himself is against this principality called Gog. And he has the prophet Ezekiel prophesying against him. And say this, Ezekiel, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses, horsemen, and all them that clothe with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. They're coming from Persia, that's Iran, Ethiopia, who's starting a conflict with Egypt right now over the Nile River and that dam, Libya, which is filled with radical jihadis who are hell-bent on destroying Israel, and with them, and all their shields and helmets. Gomer, which is a southern band of Russia and all of its bands, and Togarmah, which was a northern quarters, a band, or actually in Turkey, and all of its bands, and all of its allies, and others. So this war is prophesied in Ezekiel 38 will take place and the hook is in the jaw, and Russia is in possession. And I told you guys in 2015, and I want to welcome all 1,200 of you with us spontaneously live right now. I said this in 2015 when Russia went into Syria. I said this, I remember. I said, guys, this is it. Russia will never leave Syria. They even said they were leaving 2 or 3 times. They've never left. They're never going to leave. The hook is in the jaw. I said this. It would happen in 2015. We're 6 years later. They're still there. They're killing 200 people today. They have no intention of ever leaving, ever. And they have 2 reasons. They want to control the Middle Eastern. If you control the Middle East, you control the massive amount of oil. They've already got Iran in their back pocket. If they can get the Syrian oil and threaten the Saudi Arabian oil and control the Turkish pipelines and keep their hammer on the head of Israel, they will control the Middle East. That's what they want to do. That's where the hook, that's why the hook is in the jaw. That's the plan. But they are going to be devastated. They make a fatal mistake in Ezekiel 39, and they will do it. They make the fatal mistake of attacking Israel. And when they come against Israel, they're coming against the Lord himself. That's what Ezekiel 39 says. That's what God says. And that will be the flaw. Now, I don't know if Putin does it or if it's President or the next leader or his replacement. I don't know which one. I don't know if Putin, Boot Scootin' Putin is the one. Maybe not. Putin may just stay entrenched there and set things up, and the next guy comes in, makes that move. That's very possible. But I'm telling you right now, it is ugly what is taking place. Also in Russia, it's crazy what's taking place over there as it relates to the threat. I'm asking, I just can ask real quick, has the verdict come in yet in Minnesota? I see a couple comments in the chat room right now. I just want to make sure if that no. Okay. Thank you, Susan. Thank you. And I know that everybody's sitting on pins and needles right now on how that's going to work out. We all are. We all are. Okay. Prayers going up everywhere. Prayers going up everywhere. Okay. Prayers going up everywhere for the people of Minnesota, for the people of Minneapolis, praying that the city heals and praying that they don't turn into the streets, no matter what the verdict comes out, and burn that city down and people lose their lives. And what's also a concern I have, it's not just Minneapolis, but I'm concerned that, this thing could be orchestrated across the nation. Okay, so a lot of prayers going up right now for America on that. Now, back to prophecy in Russia, because what Russia's going to do is they're sitting there. Well, that's why we're going to start a revival. Thank you, Angie. You are so right. And that's why we've been calling revival. And Angie is so correct. And I hope, Angie, you can come to Florida and sing. But this revival is going to break loose here in Florida. God told me it's called the Florida Outpouring. The tent has been ordered. It's being manufactured right now. I understand that the lighting and there's going to be the stage. All of this has been ordered now for the stage and the professional lighting. They're going to do that because we're going to be streaming this thing live, and we want to make sure that people have the best quality to see what's going on in this revival. This is the Florida Outpouring. It's going to be taking place down here in the villages of Florida. It's going to happen this year. I don't know the exact date. There's no date set. The tent is ordered. It's being manufactured. It takes about 60 days for them to build the tent, to actually manufacture the tent. It'll get shipped in here, as well as the stage is being made right now. It's a professional stage they're building. It's also lighting system. There's professional lighting going in. They're putting in different cameras so that they have great quality sound not only in the tent for the crowds, but also for the broadcasting. All of that is coming. The Lord spoke to us when I came down here in January. And I remember I was talking to Pastor Melvin, and we started sharing and trusting God and praying. And this was the revelation that was coming. And the church now is on fire. The church, the building is packed out, overrunning with people. They have to move into a bigger venue. There's no way to contain the anointing so strong. Why do we need this? Why do we need such? And so Angie Pugh is right. The preachers need to start a revival, because this country is in it. Okay, God bless you, Angie. This nation is in trouble. We need prayer like never before. Now, back to Russia. The hook is in the jaw, guys. The hook is in the jaw. Let me tell you about what's going on with when we talk about Russia. You can't, in Russia, Israel, and Russia going and bombing and killing 200 people today. Guys, you just don't do that off with no intention of stopping. Russia just didn't do that today and say, well, that's we just thought we would take care of some of ISIS. No. Russia never does anything for no reason. It is a complete focus. Now we have, while that's going on, while Russia is taking ground and entrenching themselves with their allies of Syria and Iran and Turkey, they're positioning just like Ezekiel 38 says they will do around Israel. They're also going to use the allies, soft allies, or they're going to use them as allies, and that's Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza. Now, while this is going on, Russia has moved a ton of troops right on the Ukrainian border in the last 4 hours. And actually, the European Union warns that the spark could set an escalation off in the Ukrainian border. NBC News is also, that's Al Jazeera. ABC News says Russia has moved these troops near the Ukrainian border. According to analysts, they explain what's behind the buildup. And just 2 hours ago, NBC News just released a steady increase in Russian troops in Crimea on the Ukrainian border. Why? Because Russia is concerned that Ukraine may actually try to take Crimea back, because Russia took it from Ukraine in 2014. And so this is really getting to the point of volatile. It is getting very volatile. EU warns spark could set an escalation of Ukrainian border. Russian troops deployed have sparked fears of an imminent escalation in hostilities in eastern Ukraine. The European Union top diplomat has said that in the face of the big military buildup of Russian troops near Ukrainian borders, it would only take a spark to set off a confrontation. Now, after a virtual meeting that was held of the European Union foreign ministers, that the massing of Russian troops, including military field hospitals, was a matter of concern. Why? Because it's as if they're preparing for a military engagement. It's the highest military deployment of the Russian army on the Ukrainian border ever. It's bigger buildup right now than it was in 2014 when Russia moved in and took Crimea and started the conflict with eastern Ukraine. It's the biggest buildup ever on the border of Ukraine. Initially, the EU's foreign policy chief told reporters that there was more than 150,000 Russian troops massing on the Ukrainian borders and in Crimea. And they've doubled down on that figure later before his services had to correct it in a transcript, saying the real figure was about 100,000. But the 150,000 is because of the number of troops that have been called up. So there's already 100 to 110,000 on the border, with another 50,000 or more that have been called up for deployment. The military buildup has sparked fears of an imminent escalation in a years-long conflict that began 7 years ago this April in 2014, when Russia took Crimea from Ukraine and has started that eastern battles with over there in Ukraine, trying to seize the eastern portion of Ukraine. So it's very ugly. Also, the Czech Republic has very, very concerned of what Russia may be about to do. They say that we're on the brink of an explosion, and the Kremlin has repeatedly denied playing any role in the conflict in eastern Ukraine, but said these are just the people living there who would like to be free. It's really, really, really getting ugly now. So really what Russia is doing, they are starting to make their move in both Europe and in the Middle East simultaneously. And this has caused great concern now around the world. And from a prophecy standpoint, very, very, very concerning. I want to welcome all 2,000 of you who have made it here live on this unscheduled video. I thank you guys for dropping in. This is very important. Again, there has been no verdict yet in Minnesota, so everybody is holding their breath and praying that no matter what the verdict is, that the city of Minneapolis and the cities across America remain calm and at peace, and as a unified nation called the United States of America. This is very important, and my prayers are going out. Yes, that's true. The case could get thrown out, or it could be what's called a hung jury. You're right. Susan's right. If it gets thrown out, the danger is the reaction. If it gets thrown out, the reaction may be very negative, because then they'll say, you know, what in the world is this? So, wow. Here's what I'm saying. Pray, 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 pray. Get your tickets, guys, for Climate Chaos. We're just, 3 days away? Or 4 days away? We're 4 days away. Starts at 6 o'clock Friday night. Get your tickets right now so that we can be ready to send you your link at 6 p.m. Eastern on Friday night. I'm filming Mike from Around the World tomorrow night. He's bringing forth information never before disclosed, with charts, graphs, information he's going to reveal, never before disclosed. He told me off camera, he said, it is time to reveal it now. It is time, because he said, we don't have any more time left. I have to do this now. And the sense of urgency is something I haven't heard in him other than when he first started telling us about this 8 years ago, that this day was coming, that these days were coming. Also, we're watching to see what happens on April 25th. Mike said there's going to be some kind of natural disaster. And we're getting reports that there's a lot of first responders on the move to a certain location. I'm not going to say any more about it till I get a confirmation on more of that. But it's getting very, very, very concerning what's taking place in this world. We are running out of time. Please, 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 everybody, give your life to Jesus Christ. If you're not saved, if you are saved, then don't be fearful. Have faith. We're blessed and highly favored. And no matter what, you're walking in the anointing of God. But you need to start telling your friends and your neighbors and your family about Jesus before it's too late.